World of Warcraft is the most well-known MMO in the world, and there are tons of new players trying out WoW every day. So after a few hours of good old-fashioned adventuring, and running my first dungeon as a tank, I can safely say that the new player experience is a perfect introduction to playing mostly by yourself in a massively multiplayer online game. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Underwood Gaming Company. I am Underwood. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I appreciate the support. This video is a look at the early game experience for World of Warcraft, but I'm going to do something that is possibly a terrible idea. I'm going to be playing my first tank ever, and I'm going to be doing so while using a controller. But before we can go into an actual dungeon, we have to make it through the tutorial. For a new player, there are 13 races to choose from, and 10 classes. 2 of these classes unlock at level 10 for some reason. Some races can't be some classes, which they are slowly doing away with. So if you want to be an undead paladin, just hold on for a year or two. Of course, I made a human paladin because paladins are the best, and I made him look awesome. And I named him Engelbert because that's also awesome. You find out that you're looking for the last bunch of yahoos that came to the island and never reported back. You start out on a boat, which keeps you from wandering off and getting sidetracked. Thanks, Blizz. After a short tutorial on basic movement, which didn't really apply to me since I was using a controller, they teach you how to attack things, which is pretty central to the game. There's a shipwreck, yours to be specific, and you wash up on the island. You raid the natives and take their medicine to heal your friends, which is pretty standard MMO fare. Then you hunt a bit and make some food, and then you have to fight the captain. As a paladin, you have to generate a total of 9 holy power in this fight, which takes a while. I think that literally anyone that has made it this far had it down after the second Shield of the Righteous. But it's fine. You meet a worgen, and the audio for his voice is very strange. You rescue 4 more friends, and by this point, I like literally everyone that I have encountered except for the captain. You learn some abilities that are specific to your class, and you slowly collect a new set of armor. The island looks pretty great. The graphics aren't top of the line, but because it's stylized, I'm pretty happy with everything. The only thing that doesn't quite work is the mouth syncing for the in-game cutscenes, but it's bad enough that I still kind of enjoy it. It's not the most exciting combat ever, but it's fun enough. You have a pretty inconsistent auto attack feature, but most of your damage is going to come from abilities on your hotbar. Because I was on a controller, it automatically targets things for me, and most of the time it targets the things that you actually want to hit. In the early game, there are some pretty long lulls between abilities, but this gets better as you unlock more of them. I also found myself not actually reading any of the quest text. I know that full voice acting would be a big ask, but honestly, I got enough information from objectives and the few voice lines that they had to get a gist for the story, and that was enough to keep me happy. You rescue 1 more person, and then you kind of run your first dungeon. Kind of. You have some NPCs with you, which just made me wish that you could have NPCs for all of the dungeons. You'll get matched up with a couple of other randos and run this short and sweet dungeon, which ends in a very satisfying fight with an undead dragon. That is an excellent way to end a tutorial. A bunch of people on griffins show up to carry you back to Stormwind. Why didn't we just ride griffins in the first place? There's a sweet airship that you had 1 chance to get as a mount a few years back, but that chance is long gone. Maybe they'll offer it in the trading post someday. Anyway, you land in Stormwind, and you have to walk with this gnome guy all the way across town so that you can get this horse that looks like it's straight out of a PS2 game. It seems like a weird choice when there are much nicer horse models in your game, and this is what you're hoping will draw people into getting a subscription. It's fine though. You then ride that horse to a tavern, and one of your friends tells you to go meet the king, which is a perfectly reasonable request. You go, they ask you to accompany Jaina Proudmoore on a mission to her homeland where they hate her, and then you're off. You get treated to a pretty sweet cutscene with a creepy sailor song, and then you get arrested. Awesome. Then you break out of jail and no one cares. It's like, if you can break out, you're acquitted of all wrongdoing. Wild. I'm sure this will come up later, or maybe they talk about it in the quest text boxes that I'm not reading. You meet a grumpy old guy that seems pretty cool, honestly, and he sends you away to do all of the work. Classic video game stuff, you know? You rescue some child laborers, and then rescue some more people, but from sirens this time, until one day you hit level 15. Now this is when the important stuff happens, because now you can run dungeons. I join the queue, forgetting to switch from DPS to tank, and sit for a few minutes before realizing my error. I queue as a tank, and it takes all of 2 seconds to get into a dungeon. I had never run this dungeon before, and I told them so straight away. They didn't say anything back, but they started leading the way. Thank you, friends. Now this is kind of similar to how the dungeon worked on Tutorial Island, but I'm the tank now, and I have more responsibilities. With dungeons and raids being such an important part of the game, it would make sense for the new player experience to feature them more prominently, and to teach people how to succeed in the different roles. Why isn't there a dungeon that you can run with an NPC party, where it teaches you how to heal or tank? Why doesn't it scale to your level so that you can practice when you get new abilities that significantly affect your gameplay, like a stun or something? It just feels like Blizzard is relying on its community to teach new players. In fact, they have a mentor system in place just for that reason. The dungeon actually went pretty well. Having a controller that I was familiar with helped me remember my keybinds a lot more easily than just using the keyboard. Movement was a lot more comfortable, and the camera movements change automatically when you're using a controller, and I really appreciated it while I was scrambling around in a mild panic. I don't imagine that this will be ideal for raiding, but that's a long way down the road. Overall, I really enjoyed the new player experience for World of Warcraft. While I don't love the subscription, I think that it's acceptable when you get this level of polish and the frequency of the updates. The game isn't that complex outside of dungeons, and even those are pretty low pressure at the baseline difficulty. So if you're wanting something to sink your free time into, and you aren't afraid of commitment, then I would definitely check it out. Once again, I'm Underwood, and thank you for watching.